Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. Our show is a production of our nonprofit organization, THCF, for the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, and our affiliated political organization, the Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp, or CRRH. We have an exciting show for you tonight. I'm happy to announce after a long hiatus, we've got the technical difficulties figured out. We've got hemp news. We'll be back with several topical stories on ending adult marijuana prohibition and medical marijuana. And we have Mr. Tim Payton, John Cornett here to provide musical accompaniment. Howdy, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Welcome back. It sounds like they've got some great songs lined up for us. We have some video clips. We'll be taking your phone calls just shortly after we bring on, as we always do, our infamous dancing cannabis leaves.
I feel the force.
All right. Our first story tonight is from San Francisco. A decade-long increase in public support to legalize marijuana seems to be affirmed, according to a newly released poll by the Angus Reid public opinion firm. In a national survey of 1,004 American adults, 53% support legalizing marijuana. This survey comports with a recent Zogby poll indicating over 50% support, as well as a field poll in California earlier this year that indicated 56% support for marijuana legalization in California. The new Angus poll also found that 68% of the American public believe the war on drugs to be a failure. 8% believe it a success, with less than 10% support. Americans do not support legalizing so-called hard drugs such as ecstasy, cocaine, heroin, or methamphetamine. Two other notable and consistent demographic trends are highlighted. Democrats and independent voters support reform, 61% and 55% respectively, whereas only 43% of Republican voters support legalization. The South and Midwest are not as supportive for marijuana legalization as the West and Northeast. Whether it is these tough economic times, the ascension of a more marijuana-friendly baby boomers into positions of power and authority, or common sense recognition that the 73 years of marijuana prohibition needs to be replaced with a functional tax and control model, it appears that an ever-growing majority of Americans want major marijuana law reforms, including legalization. From our next story is from Berkeley, California. It talks about how cannabis is used to substitute other drugs. Cannabis is often substituted in place of the use of other illicit drugs such as alcohol or prescription medications, according to survey data published in the Harm Reduction Journal. Investigator Amanda Ryman of the University of California at Berkeley School of Social Welfare surveyed 350 members of the Berkeley Patients Group, a city-licensed medical marijuana dispensary. 71% of those surveyed reported suffering from a chronic medical condition. 52% reported using cannabis for pain relief, and 75% reported using cannabis for mental health-related issues. Respondents ranged in age from 18 to 81. The study found that 66% of respondents said that they used cannabis as a replacement for prescription drugs, and 57% said that marijuana provided better relief for their symptoms than conventional medications. 40% of the respondents said that they used marijuana as a substitute for alcohol. 26% said that they used marijuana to replace their former use of more potent illegal drugs. Of those who reported using cannabis in place of alcohol, 65% said they did so because it had less adverse side effects than alcohol. The study concludes, quote, the substitution of one psychoactive substance for another with the goal of reducing negative outcomes can be included within the framework of harm reduction. medical cannabis patients have been engaging in substitution by using cannabis as an alternative to alcohol, prescription, and illicit drugs, end quote. Survey data published online in September in the journal Alcohol and Drug Dependence reported that marijuana abstention is associated with an increase in alcohol use among both infrequent and heavy drinkers. Our next story is from the United Kingdom, from the city of Plymouth in England. The administration of Sativex, a new oral spray consisting of natural cannabis extracts, primarily THC and cannabidiol, or CBD, significantly reduces cancer pain compared to a placebo or THC alone, according to clinical trial data published online in the Journal of Pain Management. An international team of investigators from the United Kingdom, Belgium, and Romania assessed the analgesic properties of Sativex in patients with intractable cancer pain. 177 subjects participated in the double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled trial. Patients received Sativex, a THC extract, or a placebo. The researchers reported that patients' pain scores improved significantly with Sativex compared to a placebo or THC alone. The authors concluded, quote, the results of this study show that the THC CBD extract Sativex is an efficacious adjunctive treatment for cancer-related pain in patients who are not achieving an adequate analgesic response to opioids. They added, quote, in this study, the THC CBD extract showed a more promising efficacy profile than the THC extract alone. This finding supported by evidence of additional synergy between THC and CBD. CBD may enhance the analgesic potential of THC by means of potent inverse agonisms in CBD receptors, which may produce anti-inflammatory effects along with its ability to inhibit immune cell migration. These results are very encouraging and merit further study, end quote. A 2005 clinical trial previously demonstrated that cannabis extract significantly reduced cancer pain compared to placebo. An estimated 25% to 40% of cancer patients experience some type of neuropathic pain for which conventionally available analgesics are not consistently effective. In 2006, the United States Food and Drug Administration authorized recruitment for the first ever U.S. trial assessing the use of Sativex, cannabis extract, for cancer pain. To date, 360 patients have been recruited into the study from 14 countries in North America, Europe, Latin America, and South Africa. Results from the trial are expected to be reported in the spring of 2010. Sativex is already legally approved in Canada for treatment of multiple sclerosis or cancer pain and is pending regulatory approval in Great Britain and the European Union. The full text of this study, multi-center, double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled, parallel group study of the efficacy, safety, and tolerability of THC CBD extract in patients with intractable cancer pain, long title, appears online in the Journal of Pain Management. Our last story tonight is from Oslo, Norway. Cannabis use is associated with improved neurocognition in subjects diagnosed with bipolar disorder, according to clinical trial data published online by the journal Psychological Medicine. Investigators at Norway's University of Oslo Institute of Psychiatry investigated the association between cannabis use and neurocognition in 133 patients with bipolar disorder. The researchers reported that subjects who used cannabis performed better than non-users on a series of neurocognitive tests. The authors determined that marijuana use was associated with, quote, statistically significant improvement in attention, executive function, verbal fluency, logistical memory learning, and logical memory control, end quote. The researchers reported that contrasting results were associated with use of marijuana among subjects diagnosed with schizophrenia. The investigators concluded, quote, the findings suggest that cannabis use may be related to improved neurocognition in bipolar disorder and compromised neurocognition in schizophrenia, end quote. These findings conflict with those of a 2007 study published in the journal Progress in Neuropharmacology and Biology, Psychiatry, that reported that cannabis use was not associated with a decline in cognitive function in schizophrenic patients and might even improve it, end quote. Well, that's the end of our renewed Hip News segment this evening. We have Mr. Tim Pate and Mr. John Cornett standing by. How are you gentlemen doing this evening?
Well, we're actually sitting by, but we are fine. I'm fine. Are you fine?
Alive and well.
Okay, alive and well.
I've never heard that term, sitting by. I don't know. That's a new one on me, but that's okay.
Okay.
Ready to play.
Why not? John, this is one
Okay.
John wrote.
Now is the time. Time is now to tell the truth, to hear the truth, to know the truth. Oppressive lies and fantasies isn't how it has to be. And ignorance throwing stones like so many brainless clones. Sound the alarm, re-educate. Sound the alarm and investigate. Now is the time for the truth. Whoa, whoa. Now is the time. Whoa, whoa. Now is the time. The time is now to speak the truth, to seek the truth, to be the truth. Corporations, governments, rarely ever innocent. Dissension is the only way. Live to see another day. Sound the alarm, investigate. Sound the alarm, re-educate. Now is the time for the truth. Whoa, whoa. Now is the time. Whoa, whoa. Now is the time.
Well, I love that song. You wrote that one, John?
Pardon me?
You wrote that one?
Yes, sir, I did.
That's
I
great.
wrote that. I was pissed when I wrote that.
I can see.
I'm still pissed.
But
Well,
it came out good.
Yeah.
The song did, but
Couldn't tell the anger in it, but it sure sounded inspiring.
Thank you very much.
Good job there.
Okay.
Well, we are going to be taking your phone calls for the next 45 minutes or so. You can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. And we'll be taking your calls about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, and helping medical marijuana patients. You know, I want to start off by reminding everyone that tomorrow is the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards right here in River City, Portland. It's going to be at 300 Northeast MLK. That is right beside the Convention Center in Portland. It's in the Portland Community Center at 300 Northeast MLK. And we have a phone call. Hello, caller. You're on the show. Hello, caller.
no, don't think so.
Can you hear me? Well, we thought we had a caller. You know, this is cable access, so, you know, we do the best we can. If you have a question for us out there tonight, call that number there on your screen. It's 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. 4448. How are you doing, Tim?
I'm good.
Good,
I am.
good.
And you?
Very well, very well.
Now, you had a significant week this week. You guys actually put the Octa 2010 in?
Well, yep, we've got that turned in. We had some meetings on it. There's still no ballot title from the state, but we're ready to move forward. So our initiative to end adult marijuana prohibition is in process, and what it would do is allow anyone to grow their own with no license and allow the cultivation of seeds and starts by anyone. There are no plant limits in this law. A lot of people ask about plant limits, I guess because the medical laws have plant limits.
Either it's legal or it isn't.
Yeah, either it's legal or it isn't. And so under the new proposal we have, if you aren't selling your marijuana, and then you don't need a license.
And if you are, you need
a license. And you have to sell it through the legal processes. You know, like we have wineries, we have brew pubs, we have stores to buy alcohol. Cannabis would be sold in cannabis-only stores under our proposal, and if we can get it on the ballot and win the election, as these polls indicate we might be able to, it'll be legal here in Oregon a year from now, a year and 2 weeks from today. So,
well, I think that's good news. I really do, because I think it's time. I think we have the voter, we have the public opinion, we have right on our side.
Yeah, and we can even now show legal marijuana plants right here on television, not smell-o-vision. I wish you could smell it, though.
I know.
I guess we have another caller out there. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
Very well. How are you?
Good. Paul, I talked to you a few weeks ago, and I heard you talk about not being the grower for patients, instead being their caregiver, thereby allowing you to have more plants at a particular location.
Well, you know, caregivers can get together, our growers can get together and cooperate on single locations. So that's not the only way to do it. But what I've done is I'm the caregiver for a number of patients, and I name them their own grower. And so that way I can, as a caregiver, possess a larger amount. And since I give it all away for free, that helps all the patients I'm involved with. So I'm real happy to be able to do that.
So you get caregiver cards from all your clients. Say you have 3 clients plus yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you wanted to get more clients, to be able to have more to give away.
I actually have a caregiver for about a little over 30 different patients right now. However, I only grew 23 plants. But all of my plants produce very well, so all of my patients got a 1.5 pounds of bud at harvest.
Trees rather than
they're like trees, you know, they grow like trees if you do it right.
I called you last week and talked to you last week, Paul, and boy, I had a whole list of things I wanted to talk to you about. I wish I had those notes, but my phone was going bad. And I haven't been able to find them since I got through you this time. So hopefully next time I talk to you, I'll have some important things to tell you.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling.
Bye.
All right. If you're out there and you have any questions, important or not, you can give us a call at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. And we'll be here, another 30, 40 minutes or so, taking your calls.
Now, the process on the Octa, let's get back to that for a minute.
So we're waiting on a ballot title.
Okay.
Once we have the ballot title, we've actually filed 2 different versions. And so we're going to see what the ballot title is like on both of those.
Okay.
And then we're going to poll that ballot title, or both of them. And then whichever one receives the highest support, we're going to move forward with and eliminate the other one and then circulate that. And we're going to hire a local company called Democracy Resources to take over that campaign and run both the petition campaign and the fundraising campaign. So that's a good thing, and we're moving forward with it. We think the petition will hit the streets sometime in February.
Okay.
Looks like February or so. And it could take a little bit longer, but time will tell. So we don't have the petitions out there ready to sign today, but come February, we're hoping we'll get that thing ready and out on the streets. And then this company seems to think they can put it on the ballot in about 2 months. So if they do, we should have our petitions ready to turn in early May. So stay tuned for more on that.
Exciting.
We got another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello.
Howdy.
Hello.
Hi, I was just wondering if I have a charge from the past for growing marijuana, would I be able to get my medical license?
Were you
Yes.
convicted?
Okay.
Well, as long as it wasn't since 2005, I think effective 2006, then there's a 5-year waiting period. But if your conviction was prior to January 1st, 2006, then that won't affect your ability to be a card holder under the Oregon medical marijuana law.
Great. Thank you so much for that answer.
Yeah.
Sure,
You
you're
said
welcome.
you were charged, but you didn't say it any more than that. Was that all as far as it went?
Excuse me, I didn't
You were
hear I'm
convicted?
sorry.
Were you convicted
Were you
of that?
convicted of it?
Yes, I was convicted and charged. It was about 9 to 10 years ago.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
well, then you're...
long before the 2006 implementation of that restriction under the
Correct.
Oregon medical marijuana law. So that wouldn't have any effect on your ability to be a patient, caregiver, or grower under the law. But if you were convicted after January 1st, 2006, then there's a 5-year waiting period before you could be a caregiver or grower, and you wouldn't be able to possess more than 1 ounce as a patient. You could still be a medical marijuana patient, but you'd have to name someone else as a caregiver or grower. You could only possess up to 1 ounce at a time.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay, well,
since
thank
yours
you.
was
You guys-
prior, you're welcome. Since yours was prior to that new law and restriction implemented as of January 1st, 2006, you're free and clear.
And those are charges related to marijuana.
Another drug possession.
Yeah,
I mean, you
exactly.
can be a murderer, a robber,
still
all
be a
those other
provider.
crimes, and
Yeah.
that won't affect your ability to
Right.
be a medical marijuana caregiver or grower. But if you're convicted of a drug crime,
Right.
then you wouldn't be able to be a caregiver or
Exactly.
grower for 5 years. And that's with the first offense. If there's a second offense, then it's for life. You wouldn't be able to be under, as long as the current medical marijuana stands. Of course,
Exactly.
if our proposal, the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act, makes the ballot and wins, then that wouldn't have any effect on your ability to possess and grow marijuana.
Yeah.
Great. Well, you guys have a great night, and
Thank you.
just know that you got a bunch of support out here in Oregon and Portland.
I appreciate
We
that.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Proud to be able to do it.
Absolutely.
If you have a call for us tonight, call that number on your screen. It's 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. And we have a question from a studio audience member. So we'll give the soundboard a half second to get ready for that, and just go right ahead.
All right.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Ingram, and I have a question for your show here.
Welcome.
What if a person is currently in jail charged with a marijuana-based conviction, but they have legitimate medical reports saying that they were eligible for medical, and then the legalization happened here? Would they be released?
Not immediately. If they're in jail, undergoing, we don't have any sort of amnesty or expunging records with our proposal.
So
simply because including that would lose us about 10% support, which could be a crucial difference between winning and not winning.
But then again, a person who is in jail for a marijuana-based conviction, and then it was legalized, wouldn't that mean that their conviction was no longer valid?
That would be something they could take to the courts and raise that issue. And by all means, I 100% agree that growing marijuana and selling it to other adults should not be a crime, and that's why we're working to end adult marijuana prohibition. But we didn't include a provision to expunge records or release those currently convicted simply because we found we lost support, and we want to get as much support as we can for the proposal. Once marijuana is legalized, obviously we'd hope that everyone incarcerated would be released in short order, but we did not order that under our proposed legislation. Does that answer that question?
Definitely. Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
I mean, I'd really like to see it, everyone out of jail. No one should be in
Absolutely.
jail for ganja or
No,
marijuana.
no prison for pot, as we
Yeah.
did.
We have another caller in the television world. We'll take the television call first here. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a patient, or soon-to-be patient. He was injured 4 months ago with severe leg pain. He's got 8 screws, wires, you name it, the whole kitchen sink's in his leg. And I sent him to the clinic, and they said they didn't have enough pain history to give him his card.
You know, that
So
seems an excessive opinion. I think if somebody's got screws and things, I know that the general rule to establish chronicity or the chronic pain is that it exists at least 6 months. And obviously 4 months is less than that. However, with pins and things like that in his leg, obviously that's a severely painful condition. You might just ask them to reconsider or ask them to ask their supervisor. Move it up the chain of command a little bit.
The kicker of it is that they got him on morphine, oxycodone, Oxycontin.
Yeah.
It's tearing him up.
Oh, yeah.
And so what they did is they sent him to a pain clinic, and he had to actually, he told him that, the marijuana helps the spasms in his leg, helps him out, helps him, all the things that medical marijuana does. But they had him piss in a cup, and because it was federally funded under this clinic, if he comes back in 4 weeks and he is positive again, then they won't allow him to take any more prescriptions for the pain.
Wow.
That is just terrible. Now, I would urge you, if he's really interested in pursuing medical marijuana, to go back and try again. Or maybe come in person if you're and ask to talk to a supervisor. That's something that, I would recommend.
Okay, because, a sand rail landed on him out in Sand Lake. So, he's torn up. So just have him talk to a supervisor and go from there.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. And we have a question from another studio audience member. Hello. Welcome.
Hey, Paul. Chris Hubbard here. Hey, I just got a quick question for you. If the OCTA passes, do patients still have the ability to have providers?
Yeah, if OCTA passes, you'd be able to grow and give away to anyone. It wouldn't even have to be a patient. The only thing you'd be restricted from, under the medical marijuana law, you're not allowed to sell it anyway. And so it really wouldn't change that. In fact, the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program, along with driving under the influence, those two laws would remain in effect. But if OCTA passes, which would legalize adult use of marijuana, then it'd be legal to give anyone over the age of 21 a sample of your cannabis. You still wouldn't be able to sell it, though, without a license to sell and sell it through the state-regulated models.
Right. So then I could still have my grower-provider off-site.
Yeah,
everything
certainly
would be the same.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
There'd be no problem in having your grower provider or anyone else you know and trust grow for you or with you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
No. It seems to me that would also change some of those other circumstances with, like the gentleman who last called.
Yeah.
He'd be denied his,
Anybody be able to grow. You wouldn't need to go. That's one of the things I see in these clinics all the time. Patients come in with terrible condition, and they have to come back every year, and they shouldn't. They have to come in and pay a fee again. You get your driver's license, and it's good for multiple years. Why do you have to come back if you've got multiple sclerosis or a chronic pain condition? Why do you have to come back and
if you're disabled in this state, you get a disabled sticker for your vehicle?
Yeah, that's good for life.
That's good for 10 years. And
right.
You've got to renew it every 10 years. But once every 10 years, it's like a passport or something. Why? I agree with you. Why do you have to keep spending that money, especially for that segment of the population that maybe has the lowest amount of income?
Exactly. If you're severely disabled, you are very low income.
You always are.
I guarantee you. So one of the motivations I have is to help those patients that shouldn't have to re-register every year and be put through the endless jump through the hoops once a year. It beats being arrested and going to jail. Don't get me wrong.
That's right.
I appreciate the medical program, and we try to uphold it and treat all of its aspects with integrity and make certain that people are truly qualified. That's why we have restrictions like chronic pain records for at least 6 months and things like that. And they're general, but, there's always the exception to the rule as well. We have another caller, though. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hi. How are you tonight?
Good.
Very well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I have a few questions about becoming a medical marijuana grower.
Okay.
You're able to have 4 patients, correct?
Yes.
And
under Oregon's law, right.
And each patient is it's an ounce a month, is that correct?
No, it's each patient can possess up to 24 ounces, and a caregiver can possess up to 24 ounces per patient. And then there's no real limit on the amount a patient can consume per month. Generally, I find 1.5 to 2.5 ounces to be the average consumption. I've seen some patients, though, that don't use 1/4 of an ounce a month, and I've seen others that use an ounce or two a week. But there is no real limit on the number of ounces the patient can consume under any of the medical marijuana laws. The limits are you can grow a total of 24 plants and have 24 ounces here in Oregon. And out of those 24 plants, 6 of them can be taller or wider than 1 foot. 18 of them have to be little starter plants that are less than 1 foot tall or wide. So those are the only restrictions numerically or quantity-wise via Oregon's medical marijuana law.
Okay, another question. So if I had 4 patients and they only used, an ounce a month, and I have excess, what do I do with that?
You can give it away to other patients.
Yeah.
There are meetings every month and a lot of different patients who just have no access whatsoever. So that's what I do. I give away excess cannabis to patients who are undergoing chemotherapy. They need it right then. Chronic pain patients, through Oregon Normals, twice a month cardholder meetings, and other things like that. You can give it away. You can, if you don't know where to give it away, then you need to destroy any excess. But there's so many patients out there who go without. It'd be a good thing to give it to other patients who need it.
Okay, and then what? And then my last question, I believe, would be, in becoming a grower, and I think you guys probably know, it's a lot of money. I mean, the lights, the bulbs, electricity, everything.
Very
expensive.
And
then, with all the plants, all the work, and, it's almost like a second job if you want your crop to be good. And then you're giving this to patients. How and why would someone do this if they're not being subsidized? And
I understand. It's a very expensive proposition, especially with indoor cultivation. There is, of course, a tax write-off. If you're losing money, you can use that as a write-off on your taxes. Under Oregon's law, Oregon is the only state that says that you can't sell marijuana. It's explicitly in Oregon's law. No sales of marijuana to medical patients is allowed. No other state has that clause in their law. But under Oregon's law, as revised in 2005, we are allowed, caregivers and growers can be compensated for their expenses. They can be compensated for any amount of money they spend for anything except their time. Under Oregon's medical marijuana law, as revised by the legislature in 2005, you can be compensated for everything except your time. And
you're compensated by your patients?
Yes.
Yeah. And what you need to do is have an agreement with the patient in terms of what they're going to do and what they expect from you and what you expect from them. And so and then to abide by that agreement. I believe before you enter into caregiver relationship, you should have everything spelled out and on the table so there aren't any surprises later on down the line. And
that makes perfect sense. So could you give me maybe a roundabout estimate or a rule of thumb on what expenditures that someone might charge, say, and then equate that to an ounce that you're giving someone?
It's very difficult to make that equation because it changes from person to person. There's so many variables. You can flower a plant when it is like this one. What is that, about 2.5 feet tall? And it probably will produce 4 or 5 ounces, where if you flowered a plant that's 6 feet tall, it might produce 4 or 5 pounds. And so it's very difficult to have any set input-output formula like you're asking. Personally, I pay people to help me grow, and I don't charge my patients anything. And I figured that it cost me just under $100 an ounce to grow marijuana, even on 8 and 10 foot tall trees. But that includes the rent on the property, the soil, and paying the people who have helped me.
Right. Okay. Well, great. That makes sense. So, do you think, out of 100 growers, what percent do you think are grown? I mean, what percent do you think are doing it for money, and what percent do you think are doing it for the benefit of the patient?
Tough call.
Yeah.
No way of knowing.
I would hope the majority of them are doing it for the benefit of the patient. I mean, you can't be compensated under Oregon's law for your time, and so that kind of negates the ability of being paid. However, that doesn't mean some people aren't doing it that way. I can't really ascertain, though, what the total percentages are or anything. I just know what I do and what others that I know do.
All right. Well, thanks again, guys. I appreciate your help.
You bet.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for a lot of good questions there. We have a film clip we're going to run now, and we'll be back to take more calls and questions here in just a moment. So stay tuned.
Grass fire, when I hide, grass fire, when I hide, grass fire.
In between the blues, there are good days and bad days, with everything and nothing to lose. While the setting sun never sits, and the night has no limits. The void between freedom and free, dealing with the unnatural reality. A need to see, a need to be. Grass fire, my DNA needs THC.
Grass fire in a world that yearns. That's the way this fire burns. Like a grass fire.
In the unnatural society, been trying to maintain, while the sane appear to be clearly insane, with no way to explain. Outlasting the great lie, a sparking spark does my mind. Grass fire, pulling the sky, breathing in sativa's design.
Grass fire in a world that yearns. That's the way this fire burns. It's a grass fire.
The void between freedom and free, dealing with the unnatural reality. A need to see, a need to be. Grass fire, my DNA needs THC. Dreaming of long times past, all that those times brought. Looking to the heart of tomorrow. Grass fire in a world that yearns. That's the way this fire burns.
John Trudell.
Yep, that's John Trudell, and he's flying in here to River City, Portland, tomorrow and he'll be speaking tomorrow night at the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards banquet.
Yes.
So tomorrow there is a shopping mall, and there's going to be some classes taught by High Times Cultivation editor Danny Danko on cultivating medical marijuana. And, you know, a lot of shopping and displays at 300 Northeast, I think it's actually Multnomah, 300 Northeast Multnomah. I think I said MLK earlier. It's 300 Northeast Multnomah, which is right on the corner of Multnomah and MLK, or Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We have a caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to our show. Hello.
Hi. I was just wondering. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
We'll get you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I was wondering why the state has you meet certain requirements, and then they take your money and issue a medical marijuana license. But when I go to the county office where I get medical help, they want me to sign a paper saying that I do illegal street drugs, including marijuana. And I refuse to sign that. I cross it out and say I do not do illegal street drugs. I do medical marijuana.
Good.
But they treat me like I'm doing illegal street drugs.
Ooh.
You know, there's a lot of ignorance in the communities regarding medical marijuana and its efficacy and usefulness, where a lot of doctors just don't know anything about it. And so, you know, we have to put up with a lot of things in this life, in this world, where, you know, there's prejudice and all sorts of racism, sizeism, sexism, all those isms that aren't so good that we have to tolerate. And it's just a matter of educating people, you know. And so one of the things about this show is we try to educate people about the benefits of medical cannabis. We had a couple of articles in our Hemp News segment this evening that talked about recent studies regarding medical marijuana. And so it's just a matter of educating people. I'm sure that if the doctors in that county health department were given just a dozen of the articles that appeared just this year on medical marijuana, they would turn around. But most of them don't seek or receive that sort of information. So it's our job to educate all the people we come into contact with. And that's why we're seeing the change in attitudes, and the polls starting to show that people are in favor of complete legalization of marijuana. It's because as it becomes more first-hand and second-hand experience, people realize that marijuana is safer than alcohol, and that it's a lot better to use marijuana than to use opiates or analgesic painkillers. And so it's our job to educate those people and realize that you know, they've been miseducated to date.
Yeah, because the drug that you're taking is legal and has been for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
We're going on our near 11th year.
And you pay a lot of money to the state to get that permit.
That's right. So they're the ones in the wrong, not you.
Exactly.
Well, that's kind of what I think, and I
true.
won't sign anything like that when they
I
present
think
it to
you're
me that
completely
way.
right. You're
And
completely right.
I started with a new doctor last week, and she tried to pull that on me, and I told her I had a license, and she wanted to see it. She left the room for about 20 minutes, came back and said, "Oh, I guess this is authentic."
Well,
So
see, you educated her.
Yeah.
She
I'm gonna
didn't
have
know
to
about
switch
it.
doctors again. She won't treat me properly, so I'm going to have to try and switch doctors again.
Yeah, that's the
Wow.
thing. Well, you know, you can just keep hoping that your education will work, and though you might suffer the repercussions of her ignorance, hopefully after she's been educated a few times, she won't be so mean to people in the future.
Well, it's going to be interesting because I go back there a week from Tuesday, and we'll see what happens.
And
But
you know, if
I'm tired of the treatment.
Yeah, just remind her of her Hippocratic oath.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I'll try that. Well, thanks a lot, Paul. This is Bev. So
Okay, thanks, Bev.
information.
Be in
Okay,
touch.
bye.
If you have a question for us tonight, call us at 503-288-4448. And we have another studio audience question here. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, Paul, I just wanted to expand a little bit on the caller that just called.
Yeah, please do.
You recall I had a colonoscopy a few months ago, and I had written down one of my medications is Cannabis. Mm-hmm. And after my colonoscopy, I woke up to the post colonoscopy thing, and they had put in parentheses and typed in a Schedule 1 substance. And I was livid. I called up my doctor, and I said, I will come over there and protest, and I will get whatever legal action I can against you to take that crap. I don't want it out of my records now. And I was just really livid. And I got to talk to the doctor. He apologized. He said, it's not my fault. They did it at the hospital. It's systemic. It's part of the system. And I said, I don't care. You're the one who sent me there. And I threatened to sue. And I got a call a week later from the administrator of the hospital, who, on the advice of their attorney, told them to call and apologize, and they changed their policy because of it.
That's great.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what you got to do.
See, that's what you need to do at the Multnomah County Health Department.
Or whatever county it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we have to stand up for our rights, and the more we do that. And incidentally, the state of Oregon's Board of Pharmacy has been ordered to reschedule marijuana out of Schedule 1 to Schedule 2, 3, 4, or 5, and the Board of Pharmacy is going to have hearings in the spring of 2010, and they're going to reschedule marijuana by July 1st of 2010. So at that point, Oregon will become the first state to remove marijuana from Schedule 1 under the scheduling procedure implemented by the DEA and the Controlled Substances Act of 1972. Schedule 1 means a drug has no medicinal usefulness, and so it cannot be prescribed. And so medical marijuana permits are not actually prescriptions, though some people call them that. They're a doctor's recommendation and not a prescription.
Well, the American Medical Association came out here recently and then said it's time to reschedule it themselves.
Yeah, they said it was time for more investigation.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're hopefully going to see something like that come about in the near future. You know, a lot of you out there realize that medical marijuana is a very useful medicine, and you're not sure where to go to find a doctor, or your doctor doesn't want to do this, or if you don't want to have this in your permanent medical record, you want to keep it completely private. There are doctors all over the United States who are beginning to specialize in medical marijuana recommendations, and we have a referral service to help you find those. If you're interested in a referral to a doctor for medical marijuana, then you can call us toll free. That number is 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. And if you're here in the Portland area, you can call us at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. We have a pretty sizable studio audience this evening, and we've got another question from our studio audience. Go right ahead.
The question is, tomorrow for the banquet, I guess the weather, what's going on with the weather? I have a caller on the line right now. He's asking, are you guys going to reschedule?
No, it's going forward. There's a proposal. I mean, from what I've heard is we might get some snow tonight here in the Portland area, but it's going to be down to 500 feet. And I think that we'll see the snow, if it gets down to the valley floor, will be melting pretty early. Remains to be seen, but the show must go on. So there will be the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards tomorrow. There's a holiday shopping bazaar that's free and open to the public from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. They're at 300 Northeast Multnomah Street, right at the corner of Multnomah Street and Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. And so that will be happening from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. And then there's a banquet dinner and award ceremony where the winning strains grower will be given a trophy. And John Trudell, the Native American activist and hero, will be speaking at the awards banquet ceremony tomorrow night. So that will be from 6 till 9 p.m., I believe it is. So the banquet dinner, when there is a charge for that, of course, starts at 6 p.m. and the holiday bazaar, which is free and open to the public, runs from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m.
Don't miss it. It's really a fun event.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is a fun event. I've made it for many years now in a row, and I've enjoyed every one of them.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun. And there is a medical card holders medication station right there at the community center. Did you have another question?
Yes, one more question. Is this right on the Max line?
Yeah, it's right there,
so
directly adjacent to the Max line. Just a few short feet away from the Max train line. Right between the Portland Convention. The Max line runs right beside the Portland Convention Center, and it's right there where it crosses MLK.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It's right behind Burgerville. It's usually where we all run over to get
And
lunch.
one of those Starbucks, too.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, that's right.
There's like 3 Starbucks in about a half mile there on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. And it's behind the one in the middle. We have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on our show.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
Pretty well. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
So I had a couple of questions. First, I wanted to know, what's the main reason to get your medical marijuana card?
Well, I'll tell you. It's to be free. You've got to have a medical condition. And the top condition that most people have is a chronic pain condition. But if the reason to get that card is so you can be legal, you don't have to live in fear that you can be arrested. I have had my marijuana located in at least 3 occasions in the 9 years I've had my medical marijuana card, and in each and every case I got to keep my marijuana and go about my merry way. And so it sure feels good to know that I can't be arrested, and I'm legal, and I don't have anything to worry about. It's just to be free from that level of paranoia in and of itself is worth the small amount of money that the state charges each year. And one marijuana arrest will pay for a medical marijuana permit for 20 years. You count all the fines and the court costs and all the things entailed with being arrested for a marijuana crime, even though I don't think those 2 words belong in the same sentence.
Yeah, mutually exclusive terms.
Yeah.
Okay,
I hope that helped.
Cool. Yeah, that helps a lot.
Sure.
And one other question, I was wondering, do you like Afghan gooey?
Oh, yeah. I like it all, man.
Yeah.
I like to vaporize. I used to be a connoisseur smoker, and I could tell all the differences between smoked flavors, but about 7 or 8 years ago, 7.5, I started to just vaporize, and I find I can breathe a lot better. I don't have congestion in my lungs, and it tastes better. And so now, when I smoke, I taste an ashtray, and I can't really tell the differences except through a vaporizer. But I can tell you, through a vaporizer, the flavor is very, very nice, and the different strains and different kinds are very enjoyable.
Yes, I do have a Volcano, and that works out very well.
There you go. After you vaporized it, there's still medicine in it that can be used, especially when eaten or taken in an edible form with foods or capsules. And so I recommend giving that away to other medical patients.
Nice. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no reason to throw it away. It still has quite a bit of CBD in it, and CBD is the main constituent for pain, spasms, seizures, glaucoma, and cancer. So don't throw it away. Give that away to another patient. They're out there. They're looking for it, and I'm sure you can find a patient that'd be very happy to receive it.
Exactly.
Well,
Thanks for your call.
Thank you. You guys are great.
Thank you.
Hey, we keep trying. I don't know about great, but pretty good at least.
Above average.
Well, I'd like to think so.
We certainly have clever plans.
We are going to be starting our classes back soon where we can teach you how to grow little massive bushes like that and produce cannabis like this, And so if you're interested in those sorts of classes, just give us a call at our number right there on the screen, 503-235-4606. We're developing our new class location. We'll be announcing that soon. We're wrapping up now time-wise, so just want to also remind you that tomorrow you can go to 300 Northeast Multnomah Street, the corner of Northeast Multnomah and Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and attend the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards. There'll be a holiday shopping bazaar, and displays of medical cannabis at from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then a Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards banquet starting at 6 p.m. up till 9 p.m. It'll all be finished by 9 p.m. So you'll still have time for a night on the town. We are just down with just a few minutes to go. I want to just also remind you that if you're out there and looking for a doctor to help you get a medical marijuana permit, we have doctors all over the U.S. that we can refer you to. Just call us at 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. Or if you are if you're inside the Portland, Oregon area, call us at 503-235-4606. We will be back next week. We're going to go out. Mr. Tim Pate and John Cornett are here to play some more songs, and you get some more views of THCF Medicinal Gardens. I want to urge you to tune in next week. And remember, we don't need any more legal lies. It's time to legalize and restore hemp. Good night.